So we're usually talking a lot about San Francisco and how bad it is, but we rarely ever talk about Oakland, which is kind of like San Francisco's younger little brother, but way worse. So San Francisco is already practically in the dumps, but if you guys think San Francisco is a pretty bad place, wait till you cross the bridge to good old Oakland here, which also has an extensive amounts of great natural parks, golfing areas, and a pretty good, I guess, culture, but that doesn't really exist anymore with the amount of crime that's happening in the city. Of course, shoplifting is crazy, and the police are so overstretched that if you dial 911, you're gonna have to wait. And that happened to a lot of people. Like, we've seen videos on YouTube where people dial 911 in Oakland, and you're waiting on a line, like you're waiting on AT&T. It's crazy, okay? And not to mention, the police officers in Oakland are so overstretched that if you like bust your car or someone else on the highway, like, and it was a hit and run, chances are the cops probably wouldn't really visit you unless you're like severely hurt. So what's going on in Oakland right now is the violent crime index surges 14 whopping percent from last year. In fact, this is unusual because if you go to other cities in the US, crime is actually going down. Places like, for example, Austin, Las Vegas, Miami, Tampa, Orlando, these very populated places where a lot of software engineers are going, are experiencing like a pretty good nightlife. The cities are improving, and even Austin's downtown is really not that bad. Of course, Brickell's Miami is just incredibly good and it's overpowered and it's really clean, really nice. No tents on the horizon. So Oakland is kind of screwed at this point. Oakland has seen a 14% increase in violent crimes, as reported by the Oakland Police Department. Now remember, this is the stuff that's reported, and there's still a lot of crimes that are unreported. And this is pretty much scattered pretty evenly throughout Oakland, and it's getting worse and worse. Recent car thefts in Oakland have increased dramatically. Residents are very, very scared. Carjackings increased by 24 whopping percent, and a staggering almost 400 incidences, and as of July 26, 2023. And remember, we're seeing crazy amount of violent crimes, robberies, and the reason why it's surging so much is, like I said before, the cops don't really have that much money anymore. The cops are so overstretched. I mean, when you have to hold on the line for 911, you know that they are severely overstretched. There's probably hundreds of people calling them every single day, from just homeless encampments to violent crimes. They're so overstretched, and this is kind of what you get for the whole, defunding the police situation. Now, here's the thing. They're trying to increase the budget right now for Oakland's police department, but it's a little too late, and it's not a pretty big increase anyway. And like I said before, with the officers being this overstretched, you're gonna need bigger funding instead of cutting funding. People are really scared about the whole Oakland situation. Downtown Oakland is completely deserted, and there's still a few business guys here and there, but they quickly leave after work for somewhere else. And if you check out this, Stinky's Bar in Oakland bids farewell, and there's a huge running list of restaurants that have recently closed in Berkeley, Oakland, and other areas. And I'm surprised it's Berkeley because it's like a pretty massive town. It's a little bit further up in Oakland, but it's still a pretty bad part. But you do see that this list is pretty big. Bars, cafes, pizza joints, all closing down. And this is just like the famous ones. For each of these famous establishments being closed, there's always about 10, 20, 30 mom and pop stores, the small guys closing down. It's really sad, it's really heartbreaking because people really do spend a lot of money and time trying to really improve the community. I mean, even like University of California, Berkeley is facing like a lot of craziness. Like, this is probably one of the, I wouldn't really say bad part of town, but it's getting there and it's pretty poor. Go a little further down, like right here, downtown Oakland, this area, Jefferson, Highland Park, these areas are extremely rough and they're only getting worse. They're not getting better at all. I mean, if you go on Google Maps and you check out the location, it's not exactly the place you want to live. It's pretty rough. Crime is extremely high. And this is a really scary place, by the way. Like I said before, the crime index is surging in Oakland and it's non-stop. Carjacking surging 24% is absolute crazy. I mean, I thought Oakland's carjackings were already crazy high, but imagine surging 24 whopping percent. I don't see other cities in the US going up that much. And it's getting to the point where the Bay Area is kind of unlivable, and Palo Alto is honestly a very, very good area to live. Imagine walking to your house after a long day of work. You're walking to your house, you're finally home, and then suddenly somebody came out from the bushes, your own bush that you bought, snatched the necklace from her neck and ran away. Absolutely crazy here. I've never seen this before. This is almost like something from a cartoon at this point. I mean, I can't ever imagine this. Okay, is this really a first world city? Not really. Okay, you got poop, tents, feces, and so many parts of the Bay Area. And then when you go home at a good part of town, this house is probably $2-3 million, and then somebody's hiding in the bush and robs you. That's absolutely crazy. Now, we also have LinkedIn cutting jobs in the Bay Area, which is kind of funny because LinkedIn is kind of like the app or website that kind of helps you get jobs. And these guys are cutting jobs. This is not really a great sign. We're actually seeing a lot of high-end tech jobs being cut, which is also causing a lot of these tech guys who are very scarce in the Bay Area right now, especially San Francisco and Oakland, to leave for other parts of the country, even some going international. And we're actually seeing, crazy crimes happening in San Jose as well, which is supposed to be a somewhat decent part of town, but even these places are getting a lot of attention. San Jose is a pretty quiet part of town. It's pretty close to the Apple campus. On top of that, it's starting to become like a residential district as well. There's also like Japantown on the north, which is a pretty good location. So San Jose is actually a pretty laid-back area, but even they are experiencing homelessness, tents, and also violent crimes. I mean, look at this. Smash and dash. Smoke shops are feeling the heat. We're even seeing restaurants being robbed 2 times in a row, and they're taking massive beatings. And that's what's happening to Lyft, guys. Lyft is going to be putting up a 250,000 square footage to lease. Okay, they don't want to live here anymore. Lyft is gone, and this was back in 22. And as I'm speaking right now, you got guys like Salesforce, Uber, Block, Reddit, and of course Lyft themselves. They're all cutting themselves from San Francisco. They're all cutting massive amounts of square footage. They don't want to live in this place. Okay, who wants to live in a place where you buy a multi-million-dollar house and you get your chain snatched from a guy in a bush? Who wants to live in a place where small business owners are bidding farewell? It's so bad that they're willing to just leave. They're willing to just take the hit. And it kind of sucks, right? Because you don't really know what happens to these business owners afterwards. It's a small place. They don't really make that much money. And now they're kind of in a limbo. They can't really stay in a place. They want to stay in a place, but they're losing business and they're losing sleep just because the city just doesn't do a great job. And the city, for the first time in decades, is running at a budget deficit. And I know a lot of you guys are cheering for the downfall of San Francisco and the Bay Area, but this may not be like a cheering situation because this really affects us. This is America's #1 tech capital, and it's being ran to the ground. Hopefully they really get themselves together, because I've been here back in 2019. It was a pretty sweet place despite the craziness even back then, but now it's getting worse. You got Beamers being stolen, purses being stolen, neighborhoods no longer feeling safe. In fact, people are just simply leaving the city or just staying in their houses at night. I mean, why would you ever move here? And it's getting worse and worse by the day. See you guys later.